Hello everyone and welcome back for another Modern Masters Draft for the IncrediblePull.com. I didn't think I was going to be doing it, but here I am. And, well, it might be as many as 3 more now. I'm not making any promises, though. However, I am going to take this Woodfall Primus and force Big Green, because clearly I haven't spent enough time getting, Kodama's Reaches. Other considerable cards in the pack. Electrolyze is pretty sweet, obviously. Marsh Flitter is pretty awesome. Tribal Flames has only ever been okay for me. I would love to play the Latchkey Fairy deck, but having gotten the Woodfall Primus, I think it's time to go ham. So that's what I'm going to do. Um, for anyone interested, I might end up writing an article about it, but if you happen to be in the area, we might be playing some Vintage this week in Rhode Island, which is next level sweet. Um, hmm, this pack. It's probably the Vivid Creek, although it could be the Tribal Flames. Yeah, this Wednesday, what is that going to be? The 10th, potentially playing some Vintage at the Incredible Pulp. Unlimited proxy, and not sure what our prize pool is going to look like, if it is going to look like anything. I only have so much money for prize support, but we shall see. Yeah, I mean, this could easily be an Aether Snipe pack or a Tribal Flames pack, but I think taking the Vivid Creek and supporting my 5-color madness is the way to go. So that's what I'm going to do here. Out of this pack, it's actually probably the Germinator. As you can see, I did highlight this Walker of the Grove. It's never been amazing for me, it's only ever been okay, but um, the Germinator, like, definitely if there's like a strong chance that I pick up a Thalid sub-theme, and just having random Thalids on curve is actually really good. It's kind of silly. Meta Boon is kind of sweet, but not like super insane. I've definitely been beat by it. And the Salt-Filled Recluse is good, but I think taking a Germinator is pretty safe. So that's what we're gonna do. Doubling Season, rewarded, bam. It kind of stinks that I have to pass this Sporoloth Ancient, and the Giant Dust Wasp is fine too, but yeah, definitely just immediately slamming my Doubling Season. Card's way too sweet. It's a bit of a non-bow with a Persist on Woodfall Primus, but we'll deal with it as that comes. But yeah, Sporoloth Ancient, Giant Dust Wasp is even a real card. Um, I'm kind of okay with the rest of this pack being played against me. Someone could have like a reasonable Storm or Splice deck, but nothing that seemed like absurd here. But this Doubling Season is just like ridiculous, so that's definitely the direction we're headed. Ooh, gifts. I have to pass up a Dust Wasp to take the gifts. But I already have Doubling Season and Woodfall Primus. Like, this format is just so bomby that, like, if I pick up 2 other insane cards, I can just gifts and get, like, Woodfall Primus Doubling Season, like, bomb. Yeah, I definitely think that's gotta be the way I gotta go here. The Dust Wasp is fine, the Pestermite's alright. I'm hoping to see some late Echoing Courages now, because they're what really makes your Thalids insane. Like, when all the Saplings are just enormous, it's ridiculous. But Gifts and Gift is fine. So I was talking about going the 5-color deck, which really wants to trump the domains if I can get my hands on it. Um, I'm considering either Dust Swaps or Etched Oracle here. Oracle is the much sweeter card if I'm able to convert it into cards, but Dust Wasp is a more consistent flyer that I'll be able to cast. Um, it is a common, so the Etched Oracle is uncommon, but I definitely feel like we can pick up an Etched Oracle in a later pack. We're not really necessarily competing for that. Yeah, I think I'm going to take the Dust Wasp over the Etched Oracle. So this is, once again, an interesting pack. The incremental growth is okay. I actually think it might be the Imperiosaur over that, though. It is just a really large dinosaur. The Alid Germinator is really good, too, as, we have a doubling season. It's definitely questionable here. Picking the flyer, though, makes me feel... I mean, either card would have been a sweet combo with the incremental growth, but I think picking the flyer is better, because just having a large flyer with incremental growth is pretty good. I'm going to take the Imperiosaur, though. Ooh, Trigon Predator for sweet value, or Thalage Spell Dweller. I think I'm going to hedge and take the Trigon Predator here. It's very likely that I'll get a Thalid or a Thalid Shell Dweller back, and either one could be playable. But Trigon Predator gives me the opportunity to just absolutely destroy Affinity. And the Rebels matchup is very much dependent on how often they can put pacifisms on your guys. So having a Trigon Predator to just go ham against them is pretty good. I will take this late Echoing Courage, I think. I do not like Greater Moss Dog. I am not the kind of guy that just wants to repeatedly draw fungi. Or, I guess technically he's a plant hound, but man's best fungus. And I think I'm less so in a Splash for Tribal Flame spot here. And none of these other cards are super exciting, so we'll consider that. I think having the first Relic is better than having the second Echoing Courage, though. I mean, who knows? Maybe we'll end up needing it, and it cantrips, so it's never really a dead draw. Just turn it into another card. Okay, so we have a late Walker of the Grove. I'm not upset with that. Could take a Perilous Research, but I just don't think that card's very good. If it was Arcane, I never really considered that. If Perilous Research was Arcane, that could be sweet. This red seems very open, particularly with that Tribal Flames coming back late. I think I'm going to take the Perilous Research. But the Worst Wake Changeling is definitely a reasonable card. No. Better than having the second Echoing Courage is cutting the Stink Trick or Daredevil, because that card's insane in the Giants deck. And yeah, no one's playing Giants, but we're still screwing them out of it. If they were hoping to get these two last pick Giants cards, they're not there. Drakmore Savage is actual trash. Oh, I've never seen anyone use that to any effect. Yeah, War is just a trap. Card's not actually good. So let's see. Path and Helix are both insane. Not insane. They're removal spells, so obviously they're good. Bound in Silence, though, is very good as well. I think the Nantuko Shaman and the Moldervine Cloak have less potential opportunity than the Path to Exile does. Because, I will get one of them back and play one of them, whatever, that's fine. I'll never be, super excited to play either card. But, particularly with a Vivid Creek, I could pick up Future Fixing and like be able to reasonably play this Path to Exile, which is just a good card. Um, like Molder Vine Cloak is okay in this format. Particularly like if you have more flyers, Molder Vine Cloak can be a lot better because you can turn your little flyers into like a real clock. But I gotta take the Kanama's Reach, I guess. So other cards that I was considering in this pack include Penumbra Spider, Eternal Witness, Aether Snipe, or Sen's Enlistment for flooding out value. Drag Down is also a reasonable removal. I don't know if it's better than Path per se, but I think I just want the Kadama's Reach here. Getting back a Penumbra Spider and Eternal Witness would be awesome. But the point I was going to make is that, like, while Boulder Vine Cloak can be very good, like, your opponent could just make a billion Empty the Warrens tokens and, like, have that largely be blanked. So, I don't really feel like you should go all in on that too often anymore. There's nothing that I incredibly want to Eternal Witness back thus far, so I think, yeah, I definitely think the Kadama's Reach is where we want to be. So here it looks like I'm going to take another Thalid. I would consider Traumatic Visions. It's a reasonable card. I mean, it's one of very few hard counters in the format. Um, it's alright. I mean, 5 mana is a lot to pay for a counterspell, but you do get the flexibility of being able to use it for land cycling. So, like in the early game, it's not dead. You just hit a land drop with it. In the late game, it's obviously not dead because it's just a counterspell. But you like can't sit there and hold open 5 mana for like an extraordinarily long period of time. And I'm very greedy. Sentinel Wood, I kind of have to recognize that for me, Sentinel Wood Readers essentially cost 6. Like, I'm never going to play that without kicking it. Not never. Like, it is a Horn Turtle and, like, can keep you from dying. But I would, like, much rather be top decking them in the late game and drawing cards with them. But this Style Germinator just, like, works with our strategy very well and comes down on curve at a nice spot. So again, I think I'm taking the Imperiosaur over the Thalid. The Aether Snipe's okay, the Pester Snipe's okay, Pestermite's okay, but Imperiosaur just comes down at a sweet spot in the curve where it's very large. There isn't even a guarantee on blue. Maybe I am just playing like a white-green Thalids deck, because currently I have a Perilous Research that's negotiable, a Trigon Predator, and a Gifts. Like, I did take a path. As you can see, there aren't really any real white cards in this pack. And while Thalids are right, it's and obviously much better with Doubling Season, I don't think it's so good that I want to use this pick on it. I definitely think that could come back. So here, Thundercloud Shaman is really good. But I don't think the Giants deck is actually going to be very good. I have taken a bunch of cards from it. I'm considering the Careful Consideration. It provides a lot of late game protection against flooding out. You definitely can overdo it on Careful Considerations in this format, though. I think that's better than a Dismisser, a Traumatic Visions, or a Shell Dweller. The Plume Veil, not good in this deck at all. The Great Heart, also not amazing. Yeah, we're going to end up with a Careful Consideration. So sadly, I'm not in a spot to make use of Auriok Salvagers. Relic of Progenitus is a bit of a non-bow with it. Consider the Molder Vine Cloak. The Hanakami is not at all good in this deck. There's the Ethereum Sculptor. The Test of Faith and Gleam of Resistance are alright, but I think we're in a much happier spot with the Molder Vine Cloak. Ooh, Summoner's Pact. So I could take real cards like Echoing Truth, Pallid Mycoderm, or Logic Knot. Pallid Mycoderm potentially being the best one if I am considering playing white. But I've got some sweet ones for Summoner's Pact. I definitely think that's the direction I want to try going in. Like, it's like playing a second Woodfall Primus in your deck, you know what I mean? Or like 3 copies of Imperiosaur. Like, it does cost a bunch of mana, but I don't know. I want to see where this goes. I haven't had the chance to play with that card enough. So I would consider Sylvan Bounty, Sentinel Wood Readers. Otherworldly Journey is pretty okay with Woodfall Primus. That's getting a little cute though. It's very much on the expensive end of things. I think here, like Wood Readers and Sylvan Bounty serve similar functions, like in the early. But I think I'd rather be on the Wood Readers end of things in the late game rather than the Sylvan Bounty gaining a bunch of life end of things. And while land cycling is nice, like 1/4 is better, I think. Here I'm going to take the Nantuko Shaman over the second Moldervine Cloak. Particularly because I already have 2 Imperiosaurs. It doesn't really behoove me to pick up a whole bunch of Moldervine Cloaks to put on Imperiosaurs. Like, there are already 5/5s. Like, your 8/8 is getting chumped or your 5/5 is getting chumped. Like, the percentage of time that you swing in with your 5/5 and they're able to trade, whereas if you had an 8/8, you would be fine. I don't think that's worth it. So I don't think anyone is drafting the Mad Auntie deck then. Because you largely have to pick that. Um, I'm not like I can't really read what archetypes everyone around me is in. I guess I'm gonna take the drag down and hope I just don't play against the Goblins deck. Alright, so I'll take a late Dramatic Visions here. Warren Pilferers is a sweet card as a Gravedigger that, you know, is a 3/3 and could potentially have haste is awesome. Mind Funeral is just such a weird card in this pack. Like, it was a $5 uncommon because casuals love it, but like, what is it doing for the limited format? Like, I don't understand. You wanted to make this shit draftable and like provide cards for constructed, and then you went with that trash. Alright. I can beat most of these cards. All of these cards. The Stinkweed Imp is a little rough against the Imperiosaurs, but I'm gonna take this Daredevil. Make sure the Goblins is like functionally unplayable. Take a late Dismisser, that's cool. Because we let him have the Snitch, we'll take the Face Halter from that player. And Street Wraith is a free roll. Okay. So that's a board card. You don't exist. You don't exist. You're not really in consideration for this deck either. Alright, so far we got a reasonable deck. We definitely, oh, Countryside Crusher's a sweet one. Obviously, we are not casting that anytime soon, though. So Vivid Creek is actually quite the non-bow with our double Imperiosaur. So while I would naturally be inclined to take that, I don't think I'm going to. So other things we could consider are Careful Consideration, or Vidalcan Dismisser, potentially. If I go Cost Sort, I don't... See, Vidalcan Dismisser is already, like, high up on the curve, but if I pick up Careful Consideration, like, it prevents me from flooding. Whereas, like, Vidalcan Dismisser, you have to make it to a bunch of land drops and then play your Vidalcan Dismisser. And, like, having the second Vidalcan Dismisser does nothing for my Gifts Ungiven, so, like, there's no argument there. I just don't think that's where we want to be. I think we're taking a Careful Consideration. Oh. So I was gonna in the fight between Errant Ephemeron and Sporoloth Ancient, I think I'm taking the Ephemeron. I think. I'm not committing to it yet. I think. But Sporoloth Ancient is insane in this deck. relatively. We have one, two. I didn't even take that much advantage of the fact that I have a doubling season. That's really rough. I mean, I still think it's even questionably worth it. That's kind of insane. Wow. Alright, taking an Ephemeron then. Maybe we just ditch that plan altogether. I didn't even really think about that fact. Alright, well, we get rewarded with a Rude Awakening. That card's really sweet when you can get up to extraordinary amounts of mana, and it doesn't look like I actually have so much ramp that's inherently possible, but it's another card to gifts for, basically. Like, I can end of turn go, like, Vidalcan Dismisser or Ephemeron, Walker, Woodfall Primus, Rude Awakening. Like, just deal with bomb after bomb, opponent. I feel like that's where I want to be. Um, Logic Knot and Tuco Shaman, both cards that could come back that I would consider playing. But yeah, I think Rude Awakening is good for the time being. This is not a deck with a curve, in case you couldn't figure out. I don't have twos. I'd really love one mana ramp spell. That'd be great. So I could take possession, or I could take a Thallid. There is like a non-zero risk of me dying, but take possession is just such a sweet one. There's a very strong chance that I do extremely poorly in this draft. I think I'm going to take the Thallid. It's it's so rough that I keep passing take possessions. I just want to play this card. It's not any better than, the 6 mana alternative or even the 5 mana mind control, because I'm never taking an Elspeth with it. But I want to take a Thallid so that I don't die. We need to lower our curve and have plays on turns before 8. Man. Um, I want to take this Terramorphic Expanse, but I think I have to take the Rift Sweeper. I wish I had more flexibility, but in terms of playable cards, I'm a little on the low end. Like, my curve is very high, and I'm gonna need to focus on not dying. And having a 2/1 like extremely helps that plan. As much as I'd love to have a Terramorphic Expanse to help with my mana and to be able to cast Imperiosaurs and Careful Considerations, kind of gotta play this Rift Sweeper. I just gotta have all the Moldervine Cloaks. Well, Apocryphyte's a sweet one. This is definitely a card that we were looking for. It's gonna keep us from dying. Excellent blocker on turn 2. Excellent chump blocker later in the game, just because you get additional value out of it. Yeah. Gotta be that card. Alright, I am not going to play any card out of this pack. They're all really weird. Definitely an odd direction for this draft. I guess I'm going to take another Stink Drinker Daredevil. I could have had a pretty reasonable Giants deck, potentially. It just wasn't where we were headed, I guess. So I don't care about this Moss Dog. It's not, like, I'm not playing a Moss Dog on 4. It's fine. Ooh, incremental growth, late, rewarded. Alright. So I think we definitely have enough reasons to play that doubling season. Our incremental growth makes our flyers really good. And I mean, just our other creatures reasonable. It's a sweet card with Woodfall Primus because we can negate the -1/-1 counter so it can die again. Just so many sweet things going on. I'm actually going to take a Sylvan Bounty over a Petals. Because in my experience, pedals is not better than careful consideration, and like I want to have plays or like be doing things earlier on in the game, and it's definitely possible we fall behind on life. So the Sylvan Bounty is a reasonable card. I just like refuse to pick this Moss Dog, I guess. The Great Heart's definitely better than the Crush Underfoot. We got a Trigon Predator, could beat Court Homunculi. Take the Great Heart. Um, then Cuckoo Shaman actually falls at a weird spot on our curve. I think I'm going to take the Logic Knot. It is also kind of, no. It's probably an Entuko Shaman. I reconsidered. Mana cost wise, curve wise, we just aren't going to have cards in our graveyard enough to make that really worth it. I don't need more Moldervine Cloaks or Echoing Courages. As it is, I kind of feel like I'm already at my peak numbers of even considering to play those, so maybe take that Death Denied someone wanted. We will take this Ends Enlistment, I guess. Ivory Giant and Parted Dragon are not actually very good. Parted Dragon's okay, but not necessarily where you want to be. I'll take the Imp. It's a flyer. I don't know. Oh, there it is. Had to have the Moss Dog. You had no choice. Alright. About time to deck build. We're playing gifts. We're playing careful considerations. We're probably playing all these cards. Definitely, definitely. Yes, yes, yes. Of course, of course, of course. Sure, sure. Yeah, why not? Definitely, probably. Think so. Probably. I don't know. Alright, I get to cut even more cards in this? Awesome. We're playing a Trigon Predator. We're playing a Spocrosite. So I probably want to cut another 2 cards, given the opportunity. I might as well put that where it really is. Let's cut this. I don't think I'm going to be tutoring for that anytime soon. I've got plenty of cards on the sweeter end of the spectrum, right? Oh yeah, I can gifts for doubling season. So, like, this is a gifts option. It's kind of nuts. Um, no, let's cut a Wood Readers when we have, you know, 2 copies of that. Suggest. What do you say? 11/6? Is 11/6 enough? I want to be casting some double blue spells. I'll go 10/7, I think. MMA Simic. Alright, thank you all for watching. I'll join you again in round 1. See you soon.